Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Moto Racer 2 Championships Extravaganza. We've had the Superbike Championship and the result of that was that Degano won with 63 points and 4 wins. A deserved winner, I'd say. On 58 points and second in the championship was Derber. He had 2 wins in rounds 5 and 7, Cloverleaf and Feel the Heat. So he came on strong during the second half of that championship. Third was Gahuli on 55 points, he won the very first race, and in fourth was Booth on 49 points. He also had 1 win, and that was at round 4 at the Sahara. You might have noticed I've not yet mentioned me. Well, after round 5 it was going alright with 27 points, 11 points behind the championship lead at that point, but then the last 3 races were utter shite. 2 8th places, last in other words, and a 7th place, so as a result I ended up on 31 points. 6th, 7th and 8th were Kid, Weston and Mike Eep. Those 3 are the usual stragglers. So, on to the Motocross Championship. Should go a little bit better for me, I usually tend to go well on the motocross category. We start off in the Amazonian region, Old Fortress. And as usual we go for the all-round machine in an automatic gearbox. Here we go. And now the usual loading screens. Once again, Yamaha sponsorship. You can see that on the rider's overalls. He's got a white and black bike. Blue overalls. Some goggles. Because obviously in the dirt, you're going to get some in your eye if you don't wear goggles. Useful bit of protection. And the soundtrack changes as well when you go from superbikes to motocross, and it's still awesome. Ready for the first race, here we go. Much more complex map, we're on dirt. Only 5 gears and a top speed of about 100 odd miles an hour. 100. So that. Sliding all over the place, jumping all over the place, I like it. 3 laps to do, and it's quite wide, so I'm feeling confident. So we jump up to second position, literally. And you got more time to play with on the dirt as well. Still on cobbles. Kind of reminds me of the Great Wall circuit on Moto Racer 1. Hitting the wall multiple times, but I'm battling for the lead this time. I've not yet had a win. The best result was 3 third places. That came in round 1, 3 and 5. Another jump. Checkpoint, 25 seconds added to the clock. I'm in the lead! I didn't even notice that. As I'm sliding through lefts and rights. And even the commentator in the game's going, yes! And we've got a fastest lap of 1 minute 1, or record of 1 minute 1 to beat. Set by my second carnation, Seb. On to lap 2. I am in the lead. That feels nice. As we reach top speeds of about 110 miles an hour. Well, thank you. What style you're looking good. I think that's what it says anyway. I can do tricks as I'm going over the jumps. That's something that's... You don't get any jumps in fact in the superbikes because they're much better on the road. Stretch my legs out to the left because why not? I'm pretty sure I'm still on hard mode. Yeah, I must be on still on hard mode. It's nice guitar work from the composer there, Christoph Rhyme. And then you've got a drummer and a bassist as well. I'm trying to remember. Oh, we got a new lap record. I can't remember how many I set in the first championship, I can't quite remember. There'll be a caption below. Ping. That's how many records I set in the first championship. Another checkpoint, 70 seconds on the clock. In the first championship I had the ignominy of running out of time. And kick my right leg out to the left, hit the wall once again, but acceleration on these is quite good. So I can quickly re-get. I'm miles in the lead! Been a while since I said that. In fact, I haven't said that at all during this series. Ooh, I'm liking the flow of this. Jump! I wonder what happens if you hit the wall mid-air in simulation mode. As we cross the line to win! And another new record! 1 minute 0.0... 1 minute 0.8, that'll be. Lovely. Not bad for 3 minutes work. So for the first time, I'm leading a championship. More loading screens. I wonder which my favourite scenery is. I must be honest, I think my favourite scenery is the city scenery in the Superbikes. But you don't get that in Rallycross mode, you get forest. So Gahuli was second from Derber, Booth, Degano, and then Kidd, Mikey and Weston completing the top 8. And top 8 in that race means top 8 in the championship, because we've only had one race. And second best run through there altogether. As we go to Hole Shot, this is the forest scenery, and sunny conditions are expected. So we get to probably the most metal out of all the tracks, very chuggy and heavy. Tracks as in the soundtrack rather than circuit. I wonder how many different definitions of track there are. I know there's a verb, to track something. Let's track the track while listening to the track. Train tracks, that's another definition. Anyway, enough waffle, let's get on with some racing. As we go clockwise once again. 54 seconds to start off with as we go through the forest. I wonder where it's based. As we have a look at a bloke in what look like lime green as I hit the wall. Listen to that soundtrack as I hit the green dude again. Go through some right corners there. Oof, hit the wall a little bit. That's a long first sector, and there's 3 laps of it as well. Jump! As we go through another bit of... It looks like Hadrian's Wall, actually, from right and left. Oh, we go into the forest now. This is where it gets a bit narrow. I do like the scenery, actually. Underneath a tunnel? In the forest? How do you work that one out? Second sector's done. 26 seconds to add on the clock as we go underneath a viaduct. I like this scenery. Jump. Another jump. Big jump as we hit that one quite badly. Now into the forest. That was up against 5th place there. A bloke in purple. Wonder who that could be. Oh! Pinball. As we approach the end of the lap. A long lap, over 1 minute 20 seconds, but the record is 1:17 according to Seb. Underneath another viaduct. Sweeping right, sweeping left. Hit some wall, but it's not too bad as we take 4th position from a bloke in green rather than lime green. This is twisty and technical. Count the number of corners on this, please. As we are now watching the battle for second between Gahuli, Derber, Degano. Not Degano, actually. He is a bloke in green. And we're second. So we jumped up into second position, again, almost literally, and we dropped down to 5th, behind Degano. A bloke in red and a bloke in purple. Could be Gahuli and Derber, or Booth even. I think Booth's a bloke in red. Find out in due course as we move up to 3rd, past the pair of them. And I can see 2nd position. The 1st place bloke is a little bit in the distance. Bloke or lady, depending on who's actually riding the bike. And now we sit solidly in 3rd position as we slide our way through the final few corners, final few jumps, and starting the final lap. Can we catch up to 2nd position? Let's find out. Let's watch. Over jumps. Through some rights and some lefts and some more rights and some more lefts as we go in between Hadrian's Wall or the Great Wall of China, and that was a nice section through there. I can see second position in my sights as we cross the checkpoint to get some more time on our hands, although in this series it's not a problem at all. It's a little bit more forgiving in that respect. And the drum solo to finish the song, it's going to reset itself. Ooh, careful not to wheelie into the wall as the song instrumental restarts again. I can still see second place. I can see first place as we go into the final sector of this race. Through the barriers that's displaying some helmets, awry helmets. Let's hope this race doesn't go awry for me. Funny. Now then, the final couple of corners. Have we jumped up to second? Yes, we have! Have we? Yeah, I've got second! And a new best lap of a 1:15.63. I'll take second position. That must end the song, unfortunately. That was a long race. 4 minutes. So I wonder who won that one. It was a bloke in purple. Or somebody in purple. I must stop doing that. It was Booth, actually. Booth is the rider in purple. I was 3/10 off of the win in the end. Derber was third, Degano fourth, and Gahuli fifth. Mikey, Weston, and Kidd rounding out the top 8. So I maintain the lead in the championship ahead of Booth. Gahuli is third, tied third actually with Derber, and Degano, having won the Superbike Championship, is toiling a little bit in 5th. Maybe dirt isn't his speciality. As we set the 3rd best run through there, the Blob had the best one, interestingly enough, so that's the first incarnation of me. Free Flight next, and another Saharan circuit that looks like a snake. This time it looks like a comedy snake with the tongue sticking out. Or it could be a worm, who knows. Anyway, enough waffling on. And let's start race number 3 once it loads. Now then, Dirt Sahara has actually got the same music, the same song as Speed Brittany. Something similar happens like that in Moto Racer 1, where you've got Speed Bay and Funfair sharing the same song, and then Dirt Arena and Sea of Sand also sharing the same song. Otherwise, all songs are unique to its scenery. So here we go, 3, 2, 1, into a clockwise circuit, and not a lot of time compared to the forest scenery. Hitting the wall, that's a terrible start. 8th place at the moment, but we've got 3 laps, so we've got time to make it up. Well, the problem with jumps is that you don't have a lot of control in the air. That was a very good run through me, and we are up to 2nd. Now we got a rickety bridge, I remember, with some water on either side. Very unusual for Sahara. Approaching some valleys now, and I was expecting a jump there, but the wheels actually stayed glued to the sand. Jump! And that's checkpoint number 2 that we've gone through. It's a slightly shorter lap than the whole shot stage. Expecting a minute or so, rather than the minute 15 to minute 20s. Somebody in green, I think that's Degano in the lead. As we start lap 2. And they're still advertising Yamahas on the right hand side. I suppose you could count that as a change in scenery, but this is also a change in scenery. Some palm trees and I'm in the lead. Now then, let's see if I can maintain that. So there's no narrow village sections. And the narrator likes that one. So we go through the western side of the circuit into the valleys. I'm still expecting it to jump. And I think I did crash into nothing. That's put Degano back into the lead as we go over the big jump. And the narrator liking that one. Likes it a bit more than the Water Rocket. I'll try to catch some slipstream from the back of Degano as we go through this long right to the final corner of the circuit. And we start the final lap. No lap record that time around. Let's see if I can achieve it on this one as I retake the lead from Degano. Good battle between us two. More jumps. And it's just bouncing. Suspension's not liking that. Through the left and through the right, over the rickety bridge. Wooden bits. Maybe the Saharan takes influence from the Sea of Sand level from Moto Racer 1. And they're crashed into nothing again. Horrible. And, ooh, who is that that's just taken the lead? Somebody in red. Degano now in second. Ugh. So he's fading as the race goes along, but he's still in contention. Now then, I must do something about this. I had a second at hole shot. I could be facing a third. That was a massive jump. Far too massive. Now then, take the inside line. Oh, racing for the line, but it's third position in the end. And that must mean that we've got a third different winner in as many races. I didn't break the 1 minute barrier, no doubt due to the deceptive crashing into nothing glitch, halfway around the lap. Let's see, who won that one? I'm interested now. That must mean the next one will be in the Brittany countryside. Oh, it was Degano who won that, so he's racing in red this time. Gahuli was second, we take third, only 1/10 behind in the end. Derber fourth, Weston fifth. Booth had a shocker, look at that, he's down in seventh. That's definitely the worst result from Booth so far. So Weston took fifth, Mikey sixth, and Kidd in eighth. And fairly close field, only 7 seconds separating the top 8. I extend the championship lead by a single point. Now 4 points is the gap between myself and Gahuli. Degano third, Booth fourth after his shocker, and Derber getting it together now. He's in fifth, only 7 points behind myself. And that was the second best run that I achieved through free flight. Now we move on to cobblestone in the Brittany countryside. I believe that's somewhere in France. It's interesting. We've got the Sahara, which is based in North Africa. We've got Brittany, which is based somewhere in France. I think it's northern France. I might be wrong on that, as I usually have been. Amazonia, that's obviously in South America. Somewhere in Brazil, probably. And the city, I don't know where that's based. Could be somewhere in North America. And then in the forest, kind of looks a bit European. Who knows? Maybe the game developers know. Another clockwise circuit, but the circuit starts on the left-hand corner. This is more forgiving than its tarmac counterpart, in my opinion, because you're going at slow speeds. Oh, goodness me, that was a crash. Never mind, let's keep going. We have got 3 laps. Over a big jump. No, it's sticking to the road, or the dirt. That's a jump, as we're in 6th position at the moment. Big slide round the corner as we go in between the rock face. I wonder if Trackmania did take influence from that. I will do the Trackmania Championship one day on the custom circuits. That will feature more than one person. Because I want to know who is the best Trackmania out of my circle of friends. Or who is the best at Trackmania in my circle of friends. Underneath the rock faces now. That's as unique as the scenery gets as we sit in 4th position as we complete the first lap. Now we're up to 3rd, immediately at the start of it as we pass purple rider. I'm liking this song. Interesting enough, in the PC version, this is actually the main menu theme. Not sure why that is, but anyway. Crossing the first checkpoint, we sit in 4th position at the moment, and that will do our championship chances very little harm, but I've got more than 4th place on my agenda because I like the dirt. That's a nice guitar riff, nice key. Second checkpoint, I think that was an oil well on the left. Or could just be a regular well. And now we've got some houses on the left and right. Oof, missed that corner. But be careful I don't lose 4th position to whoever's in 5th. Now as we go underneath the rocks. To the right. And starting the final lap. Quite some way off the record set by Seb. Well, that was a bad jump, but it's not worked out too badly. We're up to 3rd. Now I must remember these corners. It's the blind corners that get me sometimes. And this is going quite well now, the final lap. Smooth, easy rider. And I cannot resist the urge to do tricks every time. No hands! As we go halfway around the final lap, somebody's house on the left, some sponsors also on the left. Up, up and away, says the announcer as we go into Sector 3. And somebody in red. As we've learned, that could be Degano. Jump! I can see him. I can see them. And I did hit the wall. That could cost me 2nd position. I wasn't even in 2nd anyway, but there it is. Another 3rd position. Another solid result, but 2 seconds off of the fastest record that I did. So there's some way to catch up. Now that marks the halfway point of the Motocross Championship. I could still be leading, but if Gahuli won that race, then we will share the championship lead. Let's find out. As this screen loads. It was Derber who won that one. Degano 2nd. We took 3rd. Just over a second behind Degano and over a second ahead of Gahuli. Another shocker for Booth. He's not liking the dirt. He finished 6th behind Weston, Mikey 7th and Kid down in 8th. Slightly less competitive field that time, a gap of 11 seconds between the top 8. And 3 points is the championship lead that I hold over Degano and Derber. Gahuli sits 4th, Booth 5th, still 9 points ahead of Weston, mind you. And he's only 10 points behind myself, so I need to keep it up. And that was the 2nd best run through there that I've managed. 12 seconds off of Seb. Very interesting. As we go on to the Amazonian rainforest, which marks round 5, and we're in the wet this time. Rather appropriate, as it's called Puddle Stomp. That could be a band name, that. If there's any bands out there looking for a band name, Puddle Stomp. You've got one there. You don't get this service on PewDiePie's game channel. So the first Amazonian one went quite well for me. Let's see what the second Amazonian one does for me. Might see some different sceneries this time. Once again, clockwise. As we go, 45 seconds on the timer. And that was a quick start, but the outside line is not the best one to go for. Over the cobbles. Sliding in the air. Somehow. Over some jumps. There's somebody in light blue. As we go through first checkpoint, there's a massive scramble for the lead between purple and green. One of them could be Derber, the other one could be Gahuli. I'm still learning these colour schemes. And you never know, they could well have changed bikes. Let's go through checkpoint number 2. As we sit in 3rd position, so it's not so bad. As we go into the tomb, onto the outdoor rickety bridge section, and there's a hut that we can go underneath as well. Interesting, and that's very dark, that. I don't like that. That is bad lighting. As we pinball through the exit of the tomb, onto the start-finish curve. To start lap 2, so we've got 3 laps underneath us. It is an interesting bit of scenery, but it doesn't suit me. And these jumps aren't suiting me either. Big jump, it's not bad. That's even less bad. Into sector 2, this is where I need to... Whoa, scramble, and up to second all of a sudden. I reckon somebody fell off then. That's worked out extremely nicely for me. So, who on earth were those 3 that got caught up in that tangle? Now then, I need a good run through this now if I'm to maintain second. Into the right. That's not too bad. Into the hut. Don't jump. That's fine, but I've hit the wall. That's not too bad actually through there. Final lap. Don't know how far I wasn't concentrating on the lap time compared to Seb. This must have been when I properly knew the circuits. I don't remember when it would have been actually. One of the championships is called Judd's, and I must have been getting into snooker at that point. So I reckon it was about 2011, 2012 when I was last on this. Can't see the leader at this point, so it looks like I'm pretty safe in second. Having said that, I'm probably going to make an absolute dog's breakfast of this. Well, I have hit the wall, but that's not the worst part of it. Oh, it's a bit better through there. I've hit the inside wall, then the outside. I'm alright. Still in second, and that's where I'm going to finish. Cool, I'll take that. And I was a 1 minute 4, which was... I did a 1 minute 3 in the second lap. Okay, so I wasn't a million miles off of the 1 minute 2 set by Seb. Worst case scenario would have been the 2 riders sitting in second who won that one. We'll find out shortly. It was Booth. Good comeback actually from him. From them, from her, from Schlim or Schler, whoever they may be. And he was 5 seconds ahead of me in the end. Gahuli was third, Derber and Degano. So obviously it was those 3 that got caught up in that melee. There's Mikey, Kidd and Weston, the usual 3 at the back. So I extend the championship lead to 6 points from Derber now. Gahuli is third, Degano 4th and Booth 5th, and only 8 points behind me now. And that was the second best run that I've ever had through there, behind the Blob, interestingly enough. As we move on to Twister, and it's night and it's snowing. Bit ironic it's called Twister, it looks quite simple. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, only 9 corners. Maybe it refers to the actual weather. It can snow during twisters and tornadoes. In my mind. So I now have got a comfortable championship lead. My hope is to maintain that in the final 3 races. First of which is coming up in a few seconds' time. And it's anti-clockwise. And off we go. 41 seconds on the clock, and That record is under a minute. And look at the slide I get there. This is going to be wild. And clattering into other riders. Sliding round the third corner. Over the first checkpoint almost. Almost headbutted the barrier. Sliding once again round the left. There's a tunnel coming up, I think. Indeed there is. I can tell from the scenery, not because I remember this. This is a lot more open then than compared to Whole Shot. That's a tight corner. And now the final corner. Over a series of jumps. Longish straight underneath the Michelin barrier as we start lap 2. And I can see a few riders in front of me. There's a slight bump there as you go into the change of scenery. Sometimes if you're wheeling you can actually get some air. Round the outside of this one, not a chance. And perfect landing in time with the music. Lovely. And side by side for pretty much the entire lap. We approach the tunnel. That was a good run out of there from me as we overtake green. As we enter the third sector. This is where it's got the tight chicane. And that was nicely done through there. Oh, hugging the inside onto the long straight. Wheelie as much as you can to get the maximum possible speed of 110 miles an hour. Starting the final lap, no record. So obviously Seb must have done a right job on that one. That was some air. I got some air over that. Oh, good run out of there to second position nearly. No, that was third position. Because there's two that are in front of me. Headbutting the checkpoint. I can see second position in my sights. Rounding the right, going into the tunnel. Some more jumps. It's the corners where I'm making up the time on this lot. Going from the outside, cutting to the inside. Round the chicane, that was nice through there. Last bit of straight. I'm not sure if I'm going to catch up to second place. I'm going to give it a good go. Into the pretend slipstream, but it's going to be third position once again for me. I got a new record though. Not bad. Woo! So another top 3 finish from me as we wait for the loading screen to do its thing. So I wonder who finished first and second in that particular one. There wasn't much I could have done to try and catch up to them, except for maybe avoiding a couple of the walls. Booth, once again, he's really come on strong in the second half after his catastrophic displays in rounds 3 and 4. Degano was second, and I was only 2/10 behind Degano. Derber 4th, Gahuli 5th, and then Kidd, Mike Eapen, Weston. So that moves me to 44 points. Booth is now on 40. It's still very tight between the top 5, just 9 points between us. As we move on, once we confirm that we set the second best run through there of all time, only less than 2/10 off. So, Twister's a circuit that suited me then. As we go on to Dune, D-U-N-E, not June as in the month, although it could be. Who knows how hot it will be in the month of, well, it's hot every day in the Sahara. Does that only mean there's only one dune in this particular circuit? So there was no plural at the end of that. Or is it just telling you dune is what this circuit is made out of? Here we go then. Another anti-clockwise circuit. And we're going straight into a village slash town slash city. I prefer village because it's a nicer word. It's A bit glitchy. And the narrow bits once again catching me out. And the wider bits also catching me out. We're out of the village. Cool. Right, now I can gather some momentum as we pass the first checkpoint and people in my way. We're in the night time this time. Big jump. That's a long straight as well. Straights help me in the superbikes, bends help me in the motocross. Where are we? We're in the valleys now at the second checkpoint, and we're up to third once again. I need to at least be second because Booth is on a flyer. The resurgent Booth. Jump. And completing the first lap. Back into the village, which would be my weaker section. I think his head turned as he was going over the jump. Somebody said something to me. You what? See if it does that again. You what? Want some bloody paracetamol? Now the open bits, I can see the two leaders. I must catch them. I've only won one race, but I've just been a lot more consistent compared to the superbikes. Checkpoint number 2, into the final sector, and I'm catching up to them, and we have one more lap to go as well. Sliding our way through. That does actually look like a village. An even smaller one than the first sector. We're in second position, but I'm sliding all over the place. And we start the final lap. No record, which is a minute .65 according to Seb. As we're jumping over. I caught the outside wall just before the narrow bit. And once again hitting the wall as we exit the narrow bit. I can see the leader. Whoever it may be, as we enter Sector 2 on this, the final lap. Big long straight. Really get the probably 2-stroke engine motoring. I was giving him the finger then. This game is a 3+, so it was probably just a raise of the fist. As if to say, come on. Now then, the village, I'm catching up to him. I'm catching up to them. I'm catching up to her. Whoever it may be, I'm in the lead. Just took the lead. And I'm going to take the second win of the championship. Get in. And that was a new record in the process. Formation finish. Between me and... that could have been Booth, actually. So that was a much needed win. If that was indeed Booth that I overtook at the very last straight. So my championship lead will be at least 6 points as we go into the final race at Brittany. But will it be a minimum of 6 or will it be much more than that? Who finished second? It was Kahuli who finished second, so they're racing in green. And the gap was a second, more than a second in the end. Derber third, Booth fourth, Degano fifth, Weston, Mykeep and Kidd rounding out the top 8. I have a 9-point lead in the championship. Basically, a 7th place will guarantee it for me. Booth holds on to second, and look at that, a 3-way tie for third between Gahuli, Derber and Degano. And then the battle between Mykeep, Weston and Kidd for 6th in the championship. And that was me personal best run through that. Through the dune. As we go on to Extreme Air. Ooh. And it's snowing and it's night time in Brittany as well. Let's hope it goes smoother for me than the last time we were racing in the snow in Brittany and at night time. Because the Quick was an absolute disaster. But let's see what Extreme Air does for me. A third of the way there now, and all of a sudden we're halfway there. were living on a prayer. Here we go. It's quite a long lap, this. It's still 3 laps. 1 minute 15 or 16 or so. I think it's 16, but the TV's a bit janky. Big jump over the snow and under the valley at the same time. Ooh, big contact between me and some of the other runners. Stop jumping and get into 5th gear. There we go. Sliding through the first checkpoint. It's quite an open left, and then small jump over the right, which tightens at the exit. Using some rally terms now. I suppose you could see a rally car on this. It is dirt. That was not a checkpoint. Neither is that. I have to see the checkpoints actually. That was a checkpoint. False sense of security if you're running low on time. Jump and legs out as we challenge and take 4th. Now we're challenging for 3rd and we lose 4th to probably Gahuli. That'll be. That's a checkpoint. And we started lap 2 actually. It's a wide corner. Underneath the valley full of snow. And bumping into... Oh! I think I've shunted him off then. Sorry about that. Frustrating. That's better. Checkpoint. Into a nice left. Now into the tightening right, hitting the hedge on the left. Over the jump. And pinballing as we go through the lights. Rounding the left into fake checkpoint number 1. Fake checkpoint number 2. I suspect they're advertising helmets again. Challenging 2nd. Hitting the wall multiple times. I think now this is a race for props because I'm quite some way ahead of last place. As we sit in 4th position. And grazing the hedge as we go through another village of Brittany. Sliding into the final lap of the race. Sliding around the very long first corner. There's the valley again. Kissing the wall multiple times. I can see the leader actually. Now the multitude of jumps. And that's the last one. We're up to 2nd. I think everybody seems to be struggling on the smorgasbord of jumps there. I can see the leader. Whoever you may be, I'm coming after you. And raising my hands off the handlebars in midair and aiming towards a hedge. That's not to be recommended in real life motocross. And we land on top of the leader. That was a very unpleasant incident in real life. But as we're in a video game, it's slightly comical. Now we're in the final sector of the final race of the championship. I'm still chasing after the leader. 3 more corners to go. There's one of them, kissing the hedge, and I'm in the lead! Can I hold on to it as we round this corner? Yes, I can, and I round off the championship, win it in style, just about. And set a record in the process. Fantastic. We've won a championship. Now let's see who took 2nd in the championship in what looked like a vicious battle. And also who took 6th between Mykeep and Weston. And we load. Derber was 2nd in that race. And he was a 2nd behind in the end, so it looked closer than it actually was. Booth was 3rd, Degano 4th, Gahuli 5th. Weston took 6th, so I suspect he has taken 6th in the championship. Kid a solid 7th in that race. Mikey last, but Kid will be last in the championship. And the gap, 13 points in the end between myself and Booth. Booth was the one that took 2nd in the end, tied on points with Derber. I'll do a quick count back, and I will let you know who actually finished 2nd, depending on who won what. Derber was 3rd, tentatively. Degano 4th, so having won the Superbike Championship, Degano takes 4th position in the Motocross Championship. Gahuli was 5th, Weston 6th, Mikey 7th, and Kid in 8th. And we set the 2nd best run through there, quite some way off of Seb. But bravo! You completed the Motocross Championship in 1st place. And we get a shiny golden trophy as a result. So that rounds off the 2nd championship, and for the next one we'll be going into dual code. So a mixture of 4 Superbike and 4 Motocross races. Stay tuned and see you soon.